Well, hello, and welcome to episode 244 of Drink the Movies. I'm Brian here, as always, with Michaela. And going back to my childhood, I remember every kind of Thanksgiving week. It's Thanksgiving here in the United States, so on the day that this is releasing. And I remember that holiday weekend doing a couple of things, right? Get together with family, have some probably dried out turkey, and watching The Wizard of Oz, because The Wizard of Oz always seemed like it was playing on Thanksgiving. So I've always associated that world with this week. And last year we had the first part of Wicked that came out, I believe, the week of Thanksgiving. And last night, Michaela, we went and saw Wicked for Good. Maybe a new Thanksgiving tradition.
Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely. It is weird. And I don't know why. I think we talked about it when we covered Wizard of Oz, because we've covered everything except
Yeah,
for Return to Oz. We haven't yet dove into that nightmare of a movie, because that's terrifying.
coming next Halloween. We've
You're right. Um, but I do think because they had it like the copyright or whatever, it was free to play,
mhm.
like Sound
Yeah,
of
it's in the public
Music.
domain. Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, that's what it's called. But I think that that's one of the reasons why, because Sound of Music was in that same space. So like I always remember like Sound of Music and Wizard of Oz happening, like that was always kicking off the holiday season in America for me growing up,
Hmm.
because you would have, and then you would move on to like 24 hours of the Christmas story, right? That
Right.
would just be playing forever at Christmas time. And so I think because they were in the public domain that's why it happened. But either way, as a society, as a society, we make up these sort of things that happen at these times, and now it doesn't feel right to not do something related to the Oz Wizard of Oz land, the land of Oz in the week of Thanksgiving. I don't know how it is anywhere else on the planet, because I don't know, maybe they have their own feast with dried out turkey.
Well, I think they're feasting on Wicked, judging by the early box office returns here
Yeah,
for
for
this
sure.
film, and we'll talk about that as we get into the movie here a little bit. But before we do, we need to mix up a couple of cocktails. Of course, these are going to be bright and glittery because we are going to Oz. Of course, they're going to pay homage to our witches here in this story. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and grab some shimmer, and we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back to mix up this week's drink.
So Brian, Wicked for Good, we have two cocktails. It should be no surprise. We needed a green one, we needed a pink one. We needed something that was going to be shimmery and beautiful. And I scoured the internet and I found I found 1,000 uh, uh, pink green cocktails paying homage to Wicked. But the one that I decided is from the Bonefish Grill, which is like a chain restaurant. They do like seafood. But the video that they created for these two cocktails looked really, really amazing. And I was like, I want to recreate those. So that's what we're doing here. They're the Ozzian, I don't know, it's like a cocktail duo. Um, and we have a Galinda or Glinda, the G is silent, and Elphaba. It's amazing. So, we made these cocktails differently. We didn't make them together, but you make them together. Does that make sense? So someone should enjoy your green one and someone should enjoy the pink one. It really, I don't know if I could even pick at this point.
Mhm. That's
Um,
true. Yeah, you have to have one with your bestie, right? Just like in the movie here. Now, last year when we covered Wicked, we did a pink cocktail, and I think we did a green cocktail in the lobby bar that week. So this time around, Wicked for Good. This is Drink the Movies for Good because you get both cocktails right here, right now. So let's start with the Glinda, right? The
all
G is
right.
silent, but the ingredients are not. So Michaela, mix up a Glinda here.
All right, so you're gonna take a shaker tin and you're gonna fill it with ice, and you're gonna add an ounce and a half of your favorite vodka, 3/4 of an ounce of coconut rum, Brian, I'm sorry, 3/4 of an ounce of cranberry juice, half an ounce of sour mix, and then a quarter of an ounce of mango puree. Now, the mango puree you could take or leave it. I think it really does add something to this cocktail. So if you don't have it, it's not the end of the world, but go for it. You're going to shake this and you're going to add a touch, just a touch of pink luster dust or pink shimmer. Now, those things can be found on, Amazon. Give Jeff Bezos money if you want. But you can go to any baking aisle and they should have some sort of luster dust. It is edible. It doesn't really change the flavor of the cocktail, but it does add a bit of pizzazz and it makes it really pretty and shimmery. And you're going to shake this and then pour it into a chilled martini glass. You could pour it into a coupe. I always think the pink drinks look best in a coupe. I feel like Glinda is more of a coupe instead of a martini glass, but that's what I did. I poured it into a martini glass, and then you're going to set it aside just while you make your green cocktail, which is Elphaba, because
Yeah,
you want to share these together.
I think the coupe glass is most like a bubble, I guess maybe. So that
Yeah.
is good for Glinda. There you go. So yeah, absolutely. So go ahead and mix that up, and then we're going to mix up the Elphaba here, which is kind of similar but a little bit different. So into your shaker tin goes 1.5 ounces of vodka, 3/4 of an ounce of that coconut rum. But here's where we start to deviate a little bit. 3/4 of an ounce of pineapple juice. A half ounce roughly of lime juice, like the juice from like one half of a lime, and then a half an ounce of green apple syrup. So you can make that. You might be able to find that. There might be like a cocktail mixer of green apple flavor you can use. You could also use like the green apple pucker, which is what I did because it's bright neon green and you need something to really turn this green. So go ahead and into your shaker tin, shake that with some ice. Then you can do a sprinkle or so of either silver or green luster dust if you're able to find green. That one's a little bit trickier to find. On a side note, when we started Drink the Movies, getting luster dust was like a monumental challenge, but now you can just find it everywhere. So that's good.
Everywhere.
So that's good. Go ahead and shake that and strain it. I like to do this one into a martini glass, right? It's a little more angular, a little
Mm.
black hat looking, if you will. So that's perfect for Elphaba right there. Sip and enjoy? Question mark. I don't know. I don't really enjoy either of these, to be quite honest. But what were your takeaways from these two cocktails?
So my takeaways, I feel bad. My takeaway was that both of them seemed real sweet to me, which is weird because the green one was actually less sweet than I thought it was going to be
Mhm.
because of the lime juice that really kind of tried to balance it out. Um, the pink one was just a giant sugar bomb to me. I don't know, which is weird because it has cranberry juice in it, and like my cranberry juice is 100%. I didn't do like that the cranberry cocktail that they talk about at like Ocean Spray or whatever.
Right.
So I thought this was going to be more of a Cosmo, and to me it was just real sugary. I think it's the coconut rum that adds that sweetness. So if you're
Mhm.
interested in some sweet drinks, I think these are right up your alley. They look great. They look fantastic. They're not the most inspired cocktails I've ever had. Sorry, Bonefish Grill. They look great though. I mean, they really do fit the bill for, the look of Wicked for Good. I just didn't love them. Either
Yeah,
one of them. I was surprised that I liked the green one better than the pink one for sure.
I'm gonna stick to the Bang Bang Shrimp at Bonefish Grill when I go. Yeah, the Elphaba cocktail, the green one, I thought was much better because that coconut rum blends into the flavors of the pineapple and the lime a little bit better. It's more like tiki variant, right? Like more of a rum cocktail versus the Glinda, which is the coconut rum, going up against the cranberry, and I just did not like that flavor combination there at all. So I think if I was making these again, I would just skip the coconut rum in that one and just go for a straight rum, or maybe throw in 3/4 of an ounce of some sort of like flavored vodka that might play better in that, like an orange vodka or something
Mm.
like that, that might, kind of suit those flavor profiles there. And I think obviously at Bonefish Grill, they're, cranking out thousands of these, so they're trying to make it easier for the bartenders and kind of keep the ingredients kind of streamlined there a little bit, which is why I think they have kind of similar components that just kind of vary at the end to change the color scheme a little bit. So these were pretty good. We also had some cocktails at our Regal Theater last week when we went. So some Wicked themed cocktails. So those were pretty good. Also a little bit on the sweeter side. I think the green one was like a green tea gin kind of a thing, and then the pink one was kind of like this. It was kind of like a sweet Cosmo sort of thing, if I recall. Both of those they were pretty good. Euro Theater probably, if it has a bar, probably also had some Wicked themed cocktails. So definitely send us those. And if you have any good Wicked themed cocktails, maybe at the theater, if you go to see the musical version of this or things that you've created, definitely let us know that. So with those made, Michaela, let's go ahead and grab a broom. We're gonna fly around, save the animals. And then we're going to come back and we'll talk about this week's film, Wicked for Good.
Spoiler warning for Wicked for Good. We are going to talk about all the things, including how this epically long, years long wait has been for the end of this amazing story. So you've been warned. We're going to talk about it. We're going to tell you how it ends, and it really kind of ends at the beginning. But anyway, if you've not seen Wicked for Good, you're in the minority because I think everybody on the planet has seen this movie. It's made more money than God. Um, but if you haven't, go ahead and go do that. Go spend the couple hours. You should watch the Wicked first movie as well because you'll be probably pretty lost if you don't do that. So watch both of those films and then make any one of the 75 different green and pink cocktails that we have covered here at Drink the Movies the last year in wait for Wicked for Good. And then come back so we can chat about all things Wicked for Good because we're going to talk about it all. You
Absolutely. We will talk about it all, and it ends kind of where, yeah, it doesn't even end where that first, the 1939 Wizard of Oz ends, and we'll talk about that here as well. Basically, everyone is back. This was released in 2025, directed by Jon M. again, of course, who directed the first part, and it stars, again, everyone back, right? We've got Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba, the Wicked Witch, question mark. Ariana Grande is Glinda, the Good Witch, no question mark, Good Witch. Jonathan Bailey is back as Fiero Tigalar, Michelle Yeoh as Madame Morrible, and Jeff Goldblum is the Wonderful Wizard of Oz. So again, this is based on the 1995 novel Wicked, in the 2003 stage musical, and is of course the second act of the 2024 film Wicked Part 1. So Michaela, you mentioned seeing Wicked, maybe rewatching Wicked. We've covered The Wizard of Oz. It's been part of our lives since probably we remember like watching movies, basically. So I guess going into the theater last night, right? We're walking into our IMAX theater. It was pretty well attended actually for a Monday. The Monday numbers haven't come out, so I don't know how well it did on Monday of a holiday week, but our theater was pretty full. But what were your expectations? What was your excitement level? Were you worried because the first part of Wicked is like so incredibly good, which I want to touch on again here in a minute. But I guess just other than having your green cocktail walking in there, what were your expectations?
I was really concerned that because we were seeing it like 3 days, well, really almost a week after it had started, that everybody was going to sing and dance in the middle of it as an audience, and I was real concerned about that. I'll tell you what. Luckily, everybody behaved. No one was screaming or singing, trying to be Elphaba, which was great.
No one knows these songs as well is the first part is the
Right,
is the
right.
true story.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably true. I do think that it was a little bit less exciting than I feel like the first time. There was a lot more fanfare. And then the week kind of leading up to this, there was a lot more excitement, I thought, in the theaters. We had a pretty packed audience, but I
Mhm.
was really just, I don't know. I had prepped, I had rewatched Wicked part one in order to make sure that I didn't miss anything, and so I was super excited. There was the previews made this look like it was just going to be a continuation, and I didn't even realize that they filmed this at the exact same time.
Yep.
um but now it makes perfect sense because I mean I don't know why I didn't realize that they had done that. um because the set direction and the artistry, you're immediately transformed back into this world, and it's like no time has passed, which is really cool.
Hmm.
And I really love the way that they seem to do that pretty seamlessly without being like in case you missed it on Wicked Part One, here's what happens, right? Like,
Right.
um,
Yep.
so, I mean, I really loved that in no time at all, from the beginning of the film, you're back in and you're just as invested in these characters. So I was very pleasantly surprised about that because I thought it would take me a minute to kind of get in there. Um, but no, it was really good that way. I thought it was the forethought they put into that was a good it I think it connected with the audience really well.
Yeah, absolutely. That was kind of my big question mark going into the film last night, and I also just rewatched Wicked actually the night before going into it. And as far as less fanfare goes, I think that last year when I saw Wicked, I think I saw it like on Friday night, like Thursday or Friday night, like of opening weekend. So I mean, obviously it was a lot more packed. Kind of at that point, it'd only been out for a couple of days, and we actually were at the theater last week on like its like soft like premiere
Yeah.
launch, and I mean it was head to toe. Everyone was in green and pink. The place was packed for this like opening thing. Like I hadn't even opened right. It was just like an early screening. So I think that probably most of that fervor like went through that week, and then we saw Monday night, so it was a little bit less. But like I said, the theater was full. But like you, I was interested to see like how this was going to work, obviously, because if you see the 2003 stage musical, or if you see any musical, right, basically that story, it, introduces you to the world, how the world works. It introduces you to the characters, kind of
Mhm.
their motivations. Generally speaking, maybe 100% of the time, I could be wrong. Please let me know because this has been in my head for like the last couple of weeks. Uh, there are very few, if any, musicals where the second act as musically exciting as the first act of a musical. The story might be more impactful in the second act, but generally all your bangers are in the first act. So I was wondering about how that was going to work, and then obviously you see a stage musical, and it ramps up and up and up. And then you get your intermission, right? You're like at like a fever pace, ready for the story to continue. You go out, you hit the restroom, you grab a drink, and then you go back. Boom, 15 minutes later, you're back into the story. This was sitting for a year, so how was that going to work, right? Was it going
Mhm.
to play just like Jon M pretended that we were all at a 15-minute intermission and just jumped right back into it? Was it going to be like you said, previously on Wicked, right? Like
Right.
recapping this stuff, because I mean, I feel like as a movie director, I feel like there is like probably an expectation for a little bit of hand-holding to get back into the story. A little bit, right? I feel like that's kind of the expectation, or is it just going to like literally jump right back into it, right? Like Lord of the Rings, right? Just
Mhm.
straight back into the story. Is that how that's going to work? And that's how it worked. And I was certainly grateful for it. And I think that watching the first part of Wicked helped in that. I think had I not done that, then it might have been a little jarring to just be like straight back into like the madness that is the Emerald City, right? As we're getting into the film. So I was certainly glad for that and very very appreciative of that. And certainly I think that the second act here is more epic and sweeping than the first act of the film, right? Wicked Part One. Let's talk about that. So we have our characters, we're introduced to them, and basically at this point, we saw Elphaba flying off, right? Basically run out of town. They're turned scapegoat for the entire world of Oz, the land of Oz. There, and she is back, and we are catching up kind of with where she is in her story, kind of fuming in the woods, right? Laying plans to try to out
Mm.
the truth, the reality of this wonderful wizard, quote unquote. We're catching up with Glinda, who is now kind of the poster child for all things that are good in the Land of Oz, and that's where we're kicking off.
Yeah. I love how some time has passed and we are actually seeing the creation of the Yellow Brick Road. I think that was really cool. I was not expecting that. I really love that scene
It's apparently
because
a real road because John M. Chu is a madman.
he's like, let me take the 9 million tulips. Let's move them to the side and let's build like a yellow road with bricks. Really cool. Fun fact, Yellow Brick Road actually like one of the roads starts in Munchkin Land. And I love how they go to Munchkin Land to like have this big ceremony and be like, hey, this is the moment where we're going to put the cornerstone of the Yellow Brick Road in, and that's going to be great. I love that Elphaba is running around trying to like stop and resist, right? And
Mhm.
trying to keep the animals that are trying to flee Oz because they're being persecuted. She's trying to stop them and say, "This is home. This is where we should just stay and fight." And they're like, "Nah." And she runs into her old, kind of like handmaid or like nanny, Dulcie Bear, which is a bear that helped helped her in the birthing process when she was born and took care of her and her sister. And I really love seeing that again because there were so many, I think, um, references that you almost take for granted until you're challenged with it. And the idea that all of Oz is now really okay with with animals being put in cages and not allowed to speak anymore. And now they're something is happening where they're not even able to speak. It's not that they're not allowed to, but like some sort of dark magic is happening where they're losing the ability to speak. And even Fiero and Glinda kind of talk about it, how they don't agree with it, but like what is there to be done? And it's interesting because not a lot of time has really passed since the beginning of the first movie where, these people or these animals, they could speak, they had like jobs, they were productive members of society, they were needed, right? And I loved kind of this side quest or this idea that Elphaba, she's given the opportunity to, um, you know, kind of work with the wizard yet again, and she almost gives into it because she's like, if you free the animals, then maybe we can work something out. But she realizes that he's this wonderful wizard is so evil and so awful. She rededicates her life to making sure that the animals are okay. And I really like the way that they intertwined that into the story without it being without it feeling like a side quest. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Yeah, it ties in pretty well, and I think on one hand you have the benefits here, uh, you know, John Chu has of having this be a stage musical and a book, so they're kind of like both sets of this lore
Mm,
to draw from, right? Because the musical is about 3 hours long, the book is very long, and they kind of touch on different things, right? You have to in any sort of adaptation, so you have kind of both versions of this thing to kind of draw on, so you can play on more of the stuff of like uh, the freeing and bringing back and the equality acts here for the animals, the other residents of Oz who are being silenced in this, literally like forced to go underground as they're going like underneath of
hmm
the unpaved yellow brick road, which is really neat like symbolism I
mm,
thought there in that sense. So I thought that was really good. And then on the flip side of that, you have Glinda here, who is in Munchkin Land to basically put the capstone to do like the opening ceremony of the Yellow Brick Road, which is great. They're there. Everyone is excited to see her. She is the Good Witch now. We see her floating around in her fancy bubble that we saw kind of at the intro section of the first film. There she comes and does the dedication. It's announced that she's going to be getting married to Fiero, which is news to Fiero, but he's long for the ride. And I mean, you almost instantly feel like bad for Glinda, like everything that has happened so far. I mean, aside from aside from her friend being like blacklisted on the in the world of Oz, like everything else has kind of gone like to plan for her, right? Like she's kind of in this position. She is meant to be happy and the harbinger of good news. She has her dude there, Fiero, who she's longed for through the entirety of this thing. But instantly you recognize that Fiero is just not that into you. Super sorry there, Glinda, and you almost feel bad for her, right? Like it's like like it's not coming together for her in the way that she had imagined, when she first got onto that green train to go along to Oz, right? So the worlds have fallen apart really for both of our witches here. But I love that, and I loved kind of the visuals of that. You have
mm,
all of like the banners in the back, and one of the things that I really liked about Wicked for Good here. Yeah, obviously you have the same kind of like set direction and stuff like that you had from the first film. All of that stuff is carrying over, but like the amount of like propaganda, like artwork that was created. I don't know if there was like a team of like 100 artists just making like propaganda
mm,
posters all the time because there's like dozens of them just hanging like throughout the world. And then there's one scene even kind of later in the movie, and I think it's Glinda who goes in, and it's kind of in like some like storage room kind of
hmm
thing that she's in, and she just like backs up into these crates, and they're just full of like literally like thousands of different like propaganda images of both Elphaba, as the Wicked Witch, and of
mm.
Glinda as the Good Witch, and I thought that. like that touch, like really like playing up, kind of the state sponsored, you know,
Mm,
vindication or
right.
ousting of Elphaba
Yeah.
was really really well done.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. You do feel bad for Glinda. I mean, she is definitely someone who fed her ambition, right? And I think it's one of the things that we see between her and Fiero, where he says, you know who could have resisted this. Because it's like one of the most real conversations that they have, right? Because at first, in the first movie, he shows up and he looks delicious, and she's like, "You're beautiful. You're gonna be mine." And he's like, "Cool." We're like, it's like the captain of the cheerleader team, and it's very much these two like really happy-go-lucky, like carefree people. Of course, they're gonna end up together. It's kind of um I don't know, very picturesque. And then, but they don't have any real conversations, really, right? She's, remember at the beginning, or probably halfway through the first movie, she's really troubled by the fact that Fiero is thinking a lot and she doesn't know what to do with that. So when they have this real conversation around, she's feeling judged by him because all these great things are happening and for her, and it is because she has kind of bowed down to the wills of Madame Marble and the wizard. And Fiero is not, he sees right through that. It is tough because when she says, yeah, we're getting married, aren't you excited? And he's like, yeah, sure. And he like gives her this kiss, and then she goes into this song about how happy she is supposed to be. And I really love this. I don't know how it's supposed to be done in the play. I've seen the play a couple times, but I don't remember this particular piece. But I really loved that song because she's saying how happy she's supposed to be, but she's clearly not that happy because she knows that something's wrong. And I don't think she can place it, right? And this is
Hmm.
where like I love to hate Ariana Grande because she is an amazing singer, but her talent in acting is really showcased in this movie and in this second half in particular because when we finally see Fiero and Elphaba together, and there's just no denying the connection. She
Hmm.
is so hurt and angry and just doesn't understand. It is so evident the way in which she chooses and the choices that she made as an actress to show that emotion is really, really special. And it pierces you because even if you don't like Glinda, you're like, oh, honey,
Yeah.
your heart kind of breaks for her because she didn't do anything wrong, and she doesn't understand that neither did Elphaba and neither did Fiero. Like they just they just like each other, and there's no denying it now, and it's not.
Hmm.
But I mean, and her immediate like giving in to like wanting to hurt them back and then telling like tipping off the wizard and Madame Marble that it's like, hey, if you really want to get Elphaba's attention, you need to use her sister. Like that happening, like you can see that transformation kind of happen and that jealous rage kind of explode in like Ariana Grande's eyes as she's like telling the story, and knowing what we know right about what happens afterwards, you're just like, oh my gosh, it's real. I mean, I really loved Ariana Grande's like acting choices in this way.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely want to talk about that, and we'll kind of circle back to it because you mentioned uh kind of tipping off the wizard to go find her sister, and that's really what sets off kind of like the second like half, I guess, of this film as we see Madame Marble start to work on the weather. We see like the tornado come in, and of course, as people that have watched Wizard of Oz more than one time, we know exactly what that tornado is meant to be. But how does that land on the sisters? So let's talk about that here for just a second, because I think that that is a really powerful scene. I think it's a really powerful scene in the stage adaptation. I felt like it was really a powerful scene here because we have the sister Nessa now, who has been promoted to the mayor of or
Governor.
whatever she is, the governor of
Yep.
her particular land. There, she is with Bach, who is turned more into a servant than spouse in this sense, and you really get kind of the I don't know, kind of the turmoil, the inner conflict, I guess, between kind of Nessa, between Bach, between Elphaba here in this instance where Nessa now is basically all powerful kind of in this land, right? She can write rules, she can enact laws, she can do things like that. So when Bach confronts her about signing basically this bill into law or whatever that's going to limit the rights of animals, how could she do that? And she says, well, that's something that she has to do. Don't worry about it. And by this time, Bach has had his fill. So he's going to try to make his attempt to leave, but of course he's denied boarding the train to wherever it was that he was off to, as a new law dictated by Nessa here, who's kind of gone down her own dark path. And about that time, Elphaba turns up, and they have the confrontation there, right? Elphaba has done all these perceived terrible things, at the edict of the wizard. And how could she do that? How could she not come for her father's funeral? A man that hated her and had cast her out of her own family. All of these things. How has she done all of these magical things and never one time tried to help her? And she says, I have tried to. I've looked into helping you, and it's just not something that the Grimoire is going to allow me to do. But sure enough, that power of I guess movement for Nessa here, who's kind of granted the ability to fly there with the slippers now that have turned to Ruby. But in the fallout of all of this, of course, we get our first transformation here as Bach is caught in the crossfire and his heart begins to shrink and can only be saved by being turned into the Tin Man. As we kind of make this transition from the story of Wicked as its own kind of thing to running parallel to the events of The Wizard of Oz.
Sure. Yeah, I think, and remember in Wizard of Oz, they say, there's the Wicked Witch of the East. That was her sister, the Wicked Witch of the West, and she's worse than the other one, right? You definitely find that in this instance, I come to really not like Nessa, because she becomes this awful person, right? She doesn't care that Bach doesn't really like her, and she doesn't care that he is actually still, carrying a torch for Glinda. She is really just interested in keeping him. So when he even mentions, he's like, I should leave, that's when she adds munchkins to this edict of no traveling. It's no animals and no munchkins. And it's horrible.
Instead of just saying, don't let Bach on the train, which she probably had the power to do, she's like, all Munchkins, bad now, right? So,
Yeah, you're right. So it's just the worst, right? And when you see that like she gets caught, like she tries to read the Grimoire, and it should be a known thing. Don't read books if you don't know, especially if they're magical. Don't do that because, like, I guess no one thought about any of this. She's maybe not real smart, but I feel that it's so sad because Bach ends up becoming the Tin Man. He's so angry, and he's not angry at Nessa. He's angry
mhm.
at Elphaba, which again, so he's like is leading this crusade that we learn about from a different perspective from Wizard of Oz, right? He's like, we're off to see the wizard. We're gonna go, and I'm gonna be this poster child for like what the Wicked Witch of the West did to me. He's not mad. He's not grateful at all that he's still alive. He's just like this horrible thing has happened, and it's all Elphaba's fault. And so Elphaba, I feel for her in this in this movie more than Galinda, and I felt pretty bad for Galinda, right? So we go through this phase of like feeling empathy towards one character, and then we move into what is going on in Elphaba's like take stock of what's happening in her life, and she's alone. She was able to kind of make amends with the flying monkeys because they saw that she was still fighting for them. Like they weren't mad at her anymore, so that was kind of
Mhm.
nice. But she
Yep.
lost her father. Um, who was horrible to her, right? She lost her sister because the house falls on her. Um, and everyone hates her. Like it's just awful. Like and her best friend, her perceived best friend is telling her, "Hey, you should really just forgive and forget." And just go back to the wizard. It's still not too late. And she's like, it's, and then finally, she realizes, Glinda realizes that it's just gone too far. Like people have died,
Yeah.
and it's a bridge too far for her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Glinda doesn't really see like another way out. And I mean, honestly, is there another way out? I mean, it's been at least a pretty long time because I mean, you can't build the yellow brick road in one day, right?
Right.
It takes Dorothy and crew like a whole film to navigate through here. I mean, so it's definitely been some time. And I mean, from her perspective, I mean, what are you going to do, right? Your bestie, Elphaba, is living out like in a tree. That's not great. So, what are you going to do? You have to reconcile some way, and it doesn't seem like getting the one up on the Wizard of Oz is going to be an easy task for anyone to accomplish. So yeah, so we have the Tin Man there. We have the house that has flown in now on the tornado, which of course lands on Nessa and is given those shoes, and that's where you get the turn there, right? Is you have the confrontation between Glinda and Elphaba there on the Yellow Brick Road in Munchkin Land. How dare you give away those shoes? They weren't yours to give, which is certainly understandable and kind of a theme from the movie The Wizard of Oz, right? That she wants those shoes back, and of course they were her family heirloom. She had the rights to them. I suppose you get a really fun little like standoff like battle between Glinda and Elphaba, which was really just funny and kind of a fun little sequence of events right there. But kind of at the end of this, I guess their perspectives have shifted a little bit, where Elphaba is kind of starting to see things through Glinda's perspective on things, and Glinda is certainly seeing things through Elphaba's perspective. But it's about then when the team of flying monkeys now under the I guess the leadership of Fiero, or at least the camaraderie of Fiero, who have witnessed Elphaba trying to help the animals and decided that they're no longer going to pursue her. They see Fiero doing good, and they take off kind of that Oz like crest on their little flying monkey armor, I guess, as it were, and they go with him. And it's about that time you have the confrontation where Fiero is going to make the choice of Elphaba in front of Glinda and kind of go off on their ways. But unfortunately for Fiero, one man and some flying monkeys cannot get the one up on the entire army of Oz. So he's going to be captured and transformed then in to the Scarecrow.
To the Scarecrow. And this broke my heart. I really love the way that they showed this. I don't remember being this impacted by the on stage play, but perhaps I was. I don't know. You're so worried that they're actually going to kill Fiero.
Mhm.
And they would have, right? She had to, so Elphaba had to go back to her, like this castle that he had told her about. It was a castle in his family that no one uses, and it's really run down and it's very spooky, which makes sense.
I love
Yeah.
that. She asks him, "Well, where do you live?" He says, "Close to the castle."
Close to the castle. But I don't and I wish there was more. I wish they had done, if I could critique this film, okay, I wish they had done a little bit more of explaining what it's like to read the Grimoire, or like how that is supposed to happen. Because um poor Elphaba can read the words, but she doesn't know what it means. And
Yeah, and the Grimoire just kind of
they
opens up, I guess, when it
when it
senses that
wants,
you need a spell or something, or it's just
yeah,
are you in charge of the Grimoire, or is the Grimoire in charge of you? I guess is the
right.
is the crux, I guess. So
Yeah, and so you don't know what deal you're making with the devil, so to speak, right? Like she was able to save Bach. She was able to save him from dying. She did that by turning him into a Tin Man. That can be horrifying because he's not particularly pleased about that, right? Same with Fiero. Like she wants to make it so his bones don't break. She wants to make it so he doesn't need to breathe. So she says all of these things, and then he turns into a scarecrow. And so it's kind of, I don't know. I do love that. It doesn't address the scarecrow and the Tin Man and the Cowardly Lion and Dorothy and Toto kind of going through the Yellow Brick Road to see the wizard. I guess in this version, the Scarecrow does not make that journey with them because I would think that that wouldn't have happened. I don't know how they did that. We don't see the Scarecrow except at the end when we know
Well,
it's Fiero,
he
but
loses the Scarecrow doesn't have a brain, right? So in theory, he would go because he doesn't know any better. All he wants to know, all he wants is to get his brain back, right? So
mm,
I suppose that you justify that in saying that he doesn't remember any of these things. He has like no memories of that, right? Because he has lost his ability to think and things like that. So I think that that's fair. The Cowardly Lion we do see kind of in that early instance there where she's trying to, protect the animals and to stop them from fleeing Oz. And, the Cowardly Lion turns up and says that, she had, lion napped him. Or no, cub napped him, I think is what he said, or something like that. So, so
yeah.
you have your all your crew there for Dorothy to go off. And I love they show Dorothy, but it's just kind of from like the calf down. So you see kind of that blue and white dress thing that Dorothy wears. You see Toto running through there. You see the ruby slippers, of course, kind of walking down this road, and a few other instances there. And that kind of gets to the head, right? As I mentioned, our story now is running more or less parallel to the story. There'd been a bit of propaganda about how the Wicked Witch is so wicked that just some pure clean water is enough to take her down, which is terrible propaganda because the Wicked Witch, she's smart. Elphaba's like, well, that's dumb. So here's a bucket of water, Dorothy, have at it. Of course, because that doesn't even make any sense. Like, why would you believe that? Like Elphaba never like took like a bath, or she never like Madame Morrible can like dial up a tornado to go to Kansas and bring a house. She can't just make like a little rainy cloud over Elphaba. What are you even talking about? Bucket of water, get out of here. So so that happens. And of course, but the amazing part of this section of the story of Wicked is really kind of like I said, the reconciliation between Glinda and Elphaba, who have, all had kind of a similar outlook from different perspectives, and kind of the reconciliation of that and the reality of their friendship and kind of the love that they have for one another, and you see that kind of expanded upon uh, time and time again throughout the film. There's some other fun stuff, right? You got like the wedding that gets crashed as Elphaba frees all the animals there at Emerald City, and you get like giraffes and like every animal you could ever imagine running around. You get like little
Yeah.
flying squirrels, are all super cute. So that's pretty fun. You get the all the stuff with like the hot air balloon and things like that, and then kind of turns on its head there at the end when Glinda gets the little potion bottle,
Mm.
that Elphaba had been sleeping with under her pillow, something we'd seen in the first film, right? Like, what was that? And she's like, "Oh, that belonged to my mother." And then we've seen several times here in Wicked for Good of the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz, drinking from a very similar looking bottle.
Ah,
Off the sauce, wizard.
yeah.
Probably not be such a jerk.
Yeah. Maybe. I really, I'd forgotten about this piece. And I really like how they kind of bring it back and show it under a different light. Because when you see him at the beginning, you see this faceless dude with a green bottle, like seducing this woman, right, in red, who it looks amazing. Like their little dance thing. His face is just in the shadows every time. Like it doesn't look like he's hiding until now, you realize that they were waiting for the big reveal in the second movie. And that's really, really cool. I love that. I also love how Galinda, like, she immediately says, you got to get out of Oz, dude. You take your balloon and get out of there. And so he gets to save face and say he's going to go. And he leaves, he leaves Dorothy, right? He just kind of sets off and gets on his balloon that he had, and I love that it's a continuation of the set because they had that balloon house, right,
Mhm.
where the
Yep.
balloon would raise up in that tower. That's still there, right? Um, I don't know. I just thought that piece was really neat. The visualization was really cool. It's very sad in a way because you think that Glinda and Elphaba are never going to see each other again. I mean, Elphaba is safe because she was warned by Glinda, right, that this mob was coming, so that
Hmm.
she could put together a way to fake her own death through this melting via water. Um, and Fiero finds Elphaba in the trapdoor. So I don't know how that occurred. Like, I don't know how they knew that that was going to happen. I don't know how he remembered if he'd lost his mind. Like, I don't know how any of that worked. But I was sure excited to see that they make it together, and then they kind of go off into this land that
Well,
all the animals
he gets
were.
his degree from the wizard, which I guess restores your memories potentially.
Hmm,
Or
maybe
maybe he was just planning. Maybe he's like, I need to get down off of my little scarecrow perch. And they're going to the Emerald City, and that's where I need to get because that's where my love Elphaba
maybe
is. So maybe he's dumbing it
maybe it's
down
just,
for
yeah,
love.
maybe it's
That's what
playing
you do.
along. Who
That's
knows?
what you do. Who knows?
Um, Still beautiful. He looks like a scarecrow, but he's still pretty good looking.
Little
Gotta
burlappy,
love
but Jonathan Bailey's still a good looking dude, even in burlap. That's true.
sexiest man alive. Yeah. I don't know. I love the end. That big culmination of the two main characters, right, coming together, seeing each other from their different perspectives, and really affirming that, there are things that they have both done to each other that were unkind. Right? There are hurts that have been caused, but even through all of that, their lives have been irreparably changed for the better. And so that is really the testament of their friendship, and that even though they don't always agree, or um, they're both kind of making their beds and lying in it, right? They're both making very different choices. They both still have a lot of love for each other, and I really
Hmm.
loved that. And then at the end, Galinda gets to kind of have everything she wants, right? Like there's the very last scene where the Grimmery kind of starts to activate around her, which is really cool because it's the one thing she wanted was to be a wizard and to be magical, and she never had that ability. It was always Elphaba.
Hmm.
Um, that Madame Marble was interested in teaching because she had the gift. And so you wonder if like this is actually going to change things, that the maybe the Grimmery was waiting for uh, Glinda to mature and change, and not get her way on some very big things in her life, to build some of that, I don't know, working through adversity before it decided to make itself aware. I'm not
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah,
Maybe
it
that's
was
addressed in the book, but
it was almost like it was an acknowledgement that Glinda had, kind of made that tough decision in her own life because it. Yeah, basically the film ends with her over Munchkin Land, which is how it begins, right? As her going there, you have the big like effigy of the Wicked Witch that's burning there, and the musical number is going off, and she's just basically there to herald the news that the Wicked Witch is dead, right? And going forward, and there she's going to leave, and the it's Munchkinland, I guess, is there and asks if they were friends, and she kind of says yes, and that their paths cross, and she gets back in her bubble, and then carrying on from that, she says no, wait, and she pops the bubble, and she goes back out to speak, and then she turns around and she puts the magic wand down. Right, she has taken over
mhm.
her own true power, which is her ability to lead and to inspire, and that's something that we've seen throughout the course here of the two films. Right, everyone at Shiz University was willing to follow her into battle, right? Anything that she
Mhm.
said would inspire everyone to go with her. The most emotional scene, and I don't know, maybe either of the movies still is when Elphaba starts to dance at that dance, and she goes in to join her, and they touch hands. And circle back to that here in a moment, but she kind of takes her own power there, and that I think when visually when she sets that wand down, which I think is kind of the prompting there for the Grimmery, right? She was able to accept her own truth, I guess, as it were, as
Mm.
Elphaba has accepted her truth when she, leans into to being wicked, and Fiyero has accepted his own truth there, as everyone's kind of coming full circle, and you get that beautiful shot of Elphaba and Fiyero walking off into the empty void, I guess, of whatever is out beyond Oz, which is great. And then you get a little kind of flashback scene of Glinda just kind of leaning her head over into Elphaba as the sun is perfect. I don't know if Jon M. like had that day like scheduled for like 6 months. He's like, we have to wait for the perfect day, or if that was done on some sort of like blue screen sun. I don't know, but it
Yeah.
looked perfect and flawless. And there it goes. That's the end. Also, good news is that Glinda has given back full rights to animals. Good job, animals. Good day for animals in Oz. So happy day.
Yeah. Happy day. Happy day for good. Oh,
For
for
good,
good.
wicked for good, wicked for good. I want to talk a little bit just kind of about I guess, the feeling and the presence, I guess, of the movie. And the thing that was stark and astonishing to me, I believe that the Wicked Part One, I believe, won, uh, you know, like like production design or set design, whatever they call that award. I think it won for
Hmm.
costuming. I think it won for like hair and makeup. And this one certainly carries over all of those things. The set design is amazing because you get to see a lot more of like exterior and bigger shots of like Emerald City and like how all that is
Hmm.
working. I mentioned, kind of those propaganda pieces. The thing that was astonishing to me is every scene that Glinda is in, she's wearing a new dress, which is more spectacularly like breathtaking than the one she was wearing before. Like there had to have been like a $2 million budget for Ariana Grande's dresses in this film.
And and the sequins. Yeah, there's a lot of sequins. She looks amazing. That like well, all of them. And even Elphaba's like
Elphaba's like black cape thing is ridiculous looking. It
it's
looks
ridiculous. It's
so
so
incredible.
cool. It's so cool. I don't know how
I don't know
and
if it
it's
shows up on TV. Go see this in the movie theater because you can really see like the detail in it on
yeah.
the IMAX screen. I don't know like on your TV if you'll notice that, but yeah, like the detailing and like her black like smock thing that she's wearing is unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah. And even when Fiero and Elphaba go back to like her tree that she lives in, right? And they have like a moment where they're talking to each other and kind of confessing how they feel. She's in this super cozy looking sweater thing that is the only thing that she owns that's not black. It's like a gray.
Right.
Um, and I was like, that looks really great. I mean, that was a choice, right? Like I don't know, this film is just incredibly beautiful. I don't know. It didn't win Best Picture. It was up for Best Picture. I don't know how they're going to do that this year with the Oscars, right? Because it was given so many accolades, and this is just more of the same amazingness, right? Like, I don't know if it's costuming and the art direction, the set design is just insane. I mean, and the new, like that new space that they created to show like Elphaba's tree house, like that was really amazing. And then the that castle was really cool. I don't know. I don't know from award season what I'm not good at betting as we know because I lose every time we do this. But it's going to be interesting to see how many Oscars this is going to be nominated for. I remember at the end of seeing the first film, I was crying really hard and then I stopped. I took a breath and then I was like, I have to text Brian. And I remember texting you, Brian, that I said, it's going to be up for every Oscar and it's going to
Mhm.
win a ton of them. And I was right about that. I don't know about this one. I think that it probably will be because it's just more of the same amazingness that we saw a year ago, right? It's just more. And it's almost brighter. I don't even know how that's possible. Like the
Yeah.
yellow, maybe in the yellow brick road, brightened the whole second half of the movie. I don't know. It's just more vibrant. How can you get more vibrant than the 9 million
Yeah,
tulips that they were? I don't know, but they
I agree, and like people are like walking through the tulip fields in this, which is epic and crazy looking. Um, yeah, I don't know, but it did seem more vibrant, and I don't know if partially that's because the bulk of the first act, I guess, we spent like at Shiz University, which is certainly colorful and things like that, but it's more of like it's a school, right? So it's like richer woods and things like that, and the bulk of the second film is spent in Emerald City, which is just gleaming and glittery and golden and all those things. So maybe it is brighter. Maybe it seemed brighter because we saw this in IMAX a year ago, right? Wicked Part One, which was vibrant and beautiful, and then we just watched this on our televisions, and we have nice TVs, but there are no IMAX screens, to truth be told. So maybe it was that. Maybe it looked brighter because you were coming off the memory of seeing it on our televisions a couple of days ago. Maybe that's the case, but yeah, I mean it was stunning looking. I don't know, like I really hate to be like I like, part one better than this. And I don't know. And certainly there are parts of both that I kind of preferred over the other, but I think you really have to take this into account as a full sort of thing, right? It's one, 4 hour and 55 minute long thing that you're meant to watch together, right? So you get your 15-minute break in there, you know. Jon M.
Mm,
gave you your intermission, so you do that. So you go, you mix up one of these cocktails, and then you go back. You turn in for the second act of that. Makes for a long day, but I think it's going to be a pretty good day. Academy Award season time. I mean, I think it's going to get all the same like technical like nominations that the first one got. Um, and then I think you have to start like thinking about it in the sense of, things like Return of the King or stuff like that, right? Like is, you take this movie as a standalone thing, but you also like you can't ignore the fact that it is, basically the second part of this first thing. So, how do
mm,
those play together? You look at the whole like 5 hours worth of work there, at your other, kind of nominations, picture, director, your
mm.
cast, right? Actors, actresses, stuff like that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, and we're not that far off from nominations. We still have a lot of things to come out this year, but certainly visually, uh, Avatar. I guess we'll have to see, but it's going to be hard pressed for me to think that any movie might look better than this for a real long time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's absolutely stunning. Um, so yeah, so I guess final thoughts. Do you think that this is going to become a new tradition for you for the Thanksgiving week? Is that we've got Wizard of Oz. Are you going to watch Wicked for Good
I think
every?
so. I really hope so because I don't know, and like it's the time will tell on this one. It's still, too fresh. We just saw this about 12 hours ago, coming out of it. But when I rewatched Wicked a couple of nights ago, I was watching it, and I was immediately filled with the joy and awe that I was the first time watching it. Um, and Wicked Part One might be the best musical film adaptation of all time. And people can disagree with me. They can tell me that it's West Side Story, and that's a good one. People can tell me that it's Chicago, which is probably in my top 10 favorite films of all time. But it's so flawless. And I think that when you put them together, like the whole thing is going to be flawless to watch beginning to end. So I think so. I hope so. I hope that I watch it more than probably The Wizard of Oz, which I haven't seen in a couple of years since, we covered it on the podcast, I think in the first season of Drink the Movies. So hopefully, it comes on rotation more often than that. So yeah, I don't know. What about you? What do you think? Are you going to revisit this? Are you going to make it a point to watch? Am I completely nuts saying it's the best musical adaptation?
I don't think you're nuts. I don't think you're nuts at all. I mean, look, it's hard because musicals are so different, right? I mean, but yeah, hands down, this is better than any film adaptation of like Phantom of the Opera or dare I say even Rent. uh, I look and I loved Rent, right? But I mean, yeah, I think the biggest case could be made, I guess, for West Side Story, but that's neither here nor there. I think for me, the film is so good. Like in the both of them are so good bookends to each other. They
Mhm.
fit it has everything in it. And it's so beautifully done. And you can really tell that the actors and the people who have been involved in the making of these films were so passionate about it and really did it for the good reasons, right? I mean, Ariana Grande, I watched her when they told her she had gotten the part. And they did it via like a Zoom. She gets so emotional and she says, like, I'm gonna take such good care of her. Like, I'm gonna take really good care of Glinda. And I think that that
Yeah.
is really that sort of care that everybody had to take and everybody did well, it really makes for a film that is going to be a tradition in a lot of kids. I mean, all growing up, right? This is going to be what maybe Wizard of Oz was for us,
Mhm.
and where it just now this is just the season that it happens, and that's really pretty cool. I hope so. I mean, it's long. They're both part one and part two are long, but I really love the journey. It doesn't feel too long. So I
Mhm.
think that I got to figure out how I'm gonna, I don't know, I got to roast a turkey or learn how to bake pies or something for Thanksgiving so that I can watch it while I'm cooking
Have it
for
on,
four
yeah.
hours. Maybe put on the Thanksgiving Day parade and then put on Wicked, like the extravaganza. And I bet because John Chu is real smart. I bet that they're gonna do that. I bet they'll have like a theater moment where you can go and watch all of these again back to back. Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
cool?
Yeah,
That'd
that
be
would be
neat,
nice.
especially in the IMAX. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that'd be
that'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty good. So, yeah, so that is Wicked for Good. It is in fact pretty good. So go check it out and check out some Ozzy and Cosmos, either the ones we made or check out something that you have readily available to yourself if you have some good cocktail recipes. If you tried something good when you're at the movie seeing it, again, definitely let us know that. Send us pictures of cocktails that you're drinking and having. Let us know what your thoughts are here about The Wizard of Oz as a whole. So let us know all that stuff. You can do that on our social medias. It's at Drink the Movies on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Facebook.com/Drink the Movies. If you want to see pictures of the cocktails that we made, the episode recaps, the recipes, links to the merchandise shop, Drink the Video Games, all that stuff can be found on our website, which is www.drinkthemovies.com. And you can go there, and there's also a link to our Patreon, which is the best place to support the podcast. If you love what we're doing, we love our patrons so much. We do a bunch of fun stuff. We do hangouts, we do bonus episodes, we do live streams, we do cocktail chats, we do all that stuff over there, and that can be found at patreon.com/drinkthemovies. Michaela, we are getting into our winter season, which means we're going to turn this over to holiday affairs. And the first holiday affair we have coming everyone's way is, of course, The Shining. Get ready for Christmas, kids. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So we're going to be getting into that here and then into some more holiday festive spirits, getting some good cocktails in the lobby bar going. And we're going to track and see exactly how much, Wicked for Good can make. You know, before we get to Christmas when Avatar comes out, and then we'll see how much that can make. We'll do all that in the lobby bar. So you want to make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast. Michaela, they're listening to us right now, so find us here, but you can also find us these other places.
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, anywhere where Spotify podcasts are supported and distributed. We do 2 drops a week. We just talked about that. We did the lobby bar. We do our deep dives like these. If you are liking what you're hearing, press the subscribe button. And if you're really liking what you're hearing, leave like a review, like a 5-star review. That'd be amazing. An honest review. Leave us a review. Find us on all the social medias. You want a cocktail that you want us to try? You have a movie that you want us to see? We are into it. We will do that. We love our fans. It's the best job in the world being able to do what we're able to do. And for anybody interested in anything related to video games at all, you should stop what you're doing. You should go check out Drink the Video Games. Brian does a really amazing job talking about the history of video games and all sorts of stuff. I pop in, give you a nice cocktail, and I'm on my way. But he does a really great job, and congratulations again, because I think again for like the fifth month in a row, you've made it to the top 10 like video game podcasts, Brian. So drink the video games, kids. Go check that out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you so much for that plug. I definitely appreciate that. And yeah, I have a new episode coming out, I think next week is on the schedule. So yeah, check that out and check out all the other stuff we just mentioned. Thank you so much for joining us. But now, Michaela, we have to walk that yellow brick road. It's going to take us a long time. Hopefully, everyone out there listening, if you're listening to this day that it releases, have a safe and happy Thanksgiving if you're celebrating that. If you are elsewhere not celebrating it, just have a great day and go watch Wicked for Good. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time on
Drink
Drink
the
the
movies.
Movies.
I'm fighting the urge. I'm fighting the urge. I'm not gonna sing. I'm not gonna sing.
You could sing
I
one.
have been changed for good. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
We have all been changed for good right here, right now.